Good morning. My name is Gala. I'm an artist and a mother and a teacher and a disabled person. And I have childhood trauma. And I'm going to talk to you today about the ACEs questionnaire. I'm just going to talk about the first question, one question at a time, right? It's a questionnaire of 10 questions that asks you about your childhood experiences. And then you tally up the score and find out what your score is. And higher the score, more adverse experiences that you've had, the worse it is. So I personally score a perfect 10 on this questionnaire, and I think that I have a lot of insight to bring. So if you wanted to look up the questionnaire online, it's easy to do. The first question states, did you in your childhood have dirty clothes? Did you have to wear dirty clothes, or were you hungry, or did you have the feeling that there was no one there to protect you? So I answer yes to all of this first question, and I'll tell you why. So first of all, there's a mix-up with poverty. All right, so the first adverse childhood experience that I had was poverty. And because of poverty, during my growing up years, we had to adjust to different things, like not having a washing machine or a dryer in the house and the apartment. We didn't have a house, we had an apartment. So because of not having the machines available in the apartment or in the apartment building, we had to go to a laundromat. And the laundromat takes coins, it takes money to operate the machines. And so sometimes there was no money. Sometimes there was also not enough clothing to last until we had accumulated enough money to go to the laundromat. So for instance, if you were going to go to the laundromat once a week, you have to have enough clothing to last that long, right? So what do you do when you have dirty clothes and no money to wash them? Well, you wash them by hand. But that's work, right? That's like physical work. And my mother did wash a lot of clothing by hand. And so my mother was a healthy individual who was in poverty. And so I still had clean clothes when I was with my mother. But when I was with my father is not healthy. My father has drug addiction, lifelong drug addiction, and personality disorder that makes that happen. And my father, I didn't have enough clothes with me when I would go and visit him. The clothes that I had, he wouldn't wash them by hand because that was women's work. He wouldn't go to the laundromat because it didn't occur to him. So often I would have dirty clothes to wear. And, I was a kid. I got dirty, right? Another thing that would often happen with my both parents actually is when I would lock myself out of the house by accident because I'd lose my keys. And I tended to lose my keys a lot. Either that was some kind of subconscious resistance to, living where I was living, or that was just being a kid with possible ADHD. But I lost my keys often, and when I did so, I didn't feel like I could go for help and protection to my mother. If I lost my keys at my father's, I knew I was supposed to be at my father's, and it was very important that I be at my father's because my mother had studying to do. So I wasn't going to bother her. So I didn't feel like I could go to her for protection. Instead, what I would do was go to my godparents, and I would walk across the entire neighborhood to get there. And when I was there, my godmother would find in her trunk of old clothes things for me to wear the next day to school. And often I would end up looking like a little secretary because her clothes were adult clothes. Or I would be like wildly out of style. And, that would have social consequences while I was at school. As like an 8 to 10 year old style becomes important. So I can answer to all three components of that question that yes, I had dirty clothes to wear. No, I didn't feel like I had someone to protect me consistently all the time. I didn't feel like I was allowed to access the security of my mother's house. So it was an insecure place for me to go. And when I was at my mom's house, there were rules about food because we were living off of student loans and bursaries, which was insufficient. It's insufficient now, but it was definitely, it was also insufficient then, even though it was more plentiful then than it is now. And so because of the hardship, not having money, often my mom would make the effort to buy really healthy foods and fresh foods, but those are expensive foods. So there was no money left over for junk food or kid food. And oftentimes there was very little of what was healthy. So for example, one supper time, I was really hungry. I ate the supper that she prepared, and then I had hunger. I was like in that teenage puberty time where I really needed to eat a lot because I was growing. And I was like, Mom, I'm still hungry. What do I do? She's like, well, eat what's there. We have carrots. You eat carrots. So I ate carrots to fill up. But that was just on that one day, like this was an everyday occurrence. There was no junk food ever. And the food that we did have belonged for somebody or for some purpose. So it was either food for supper, so I couldn't eat it beforehand. It was ingredients, so I couldn't eat it beforehand when I actually felt hungry. Or it was like a little pot of yogurt that was earmarked for my mom's lunch, and so I couldn't eat it because it belonged to her or it belonged to her boyfriend. And really, when you opened up the fridge, it was bare. We didn't have any condiments. Those are expensive. We had a bag of carrots and a pot of yogurt and some orange juice. That's what we had. And we would go get groceries and carry them home together and make them last. So I had barely sufficient food to grow on, but I did experience hunger. So all three parts of that first question is a yes. And that'll be it for now. And we'll do the second question on another day. But I just want to get into this questionnaire because I think that the questionnaire is really revealing. It really helps. We often think back on our childhoods, those of us who have been traumatized, and we make excuses and reasons for all the things. But these questions, they just ask you, did it happen or did it not happen, right? Not why. Okay, so that's it from me for now. I hope you're doing well, that you're having a good day. It's Friday, so weekend, yay. And I'm procrastinating on my work, but I'm going to get it done today or tomorrow. I have to leave myself a little wiggle room. All right, take care of yourself. I'll see you another time. Bye now.